Hello my friends, welcome back to Microphonic Designs. Andrew here at Little Elm High School. I want to start off this video by saying that I am not afraid of a long workday, but today was a long workday. I got to the school today at 10 a.m. and it is currently 10 past 1 a.m. the next day. I've been here for, 12, 13, 14, 15 or so hours. And I have not left the building. Luckily, I live really close to Little Elm High School, about 20 minutes away. So my wife was able to bring me like lunch and dinner and stuff throughout the day, which was really nice. And we have a big setup here. Little Elm has 7 marimbas, 7 vibraphones, and 2 synths. And the mantra for this setup was basically upscaling the basics. We stick to the basics of how to cable, and we simply do a lot of it. Let me give you a tour of the mixer real quick. So I totally redid their TF3. We're using close to all 40 available channels. They upgraded their setup. I advised them to buy a couple of the Yamaha TO boxes, the Yamaha Dante card. That's back there in the Synth 2 cart, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But yeah, we've got all 7 marimbas, high and low microphones. That's our first 14 channels. And then the next 7 channels, we have vibes 1 through 7. We got 3 open channels down here. And again, these are all being fed from the Dante network, the TO boxes. On input 2 layer, we've got both synths up, the synthesizers up front. We've got sideline 1, sideline 2. So these are 2 hardwired mics on side 2, the right side of the field. And then 2 open channels. And then we've got wireless 1 through 7 on channels 33 through 39. So the TF3 is indeed a full 40 channel console if we take advantage of the extra inputs given to us by the TO boxes. And so that's how I was able to basically use what they already had, combine that with some upgrades, and there we go. We have enough inputs for an ensemble of this size. So the speaker setup is pretty standard. It's one of the old McCormick setups where we've got the 2 amps going out to, this speaker combination. And one of the things that we need to upgrade, or rather add to their setup, are those Whirlwind SBNL 14442 speak-on splitter boxes. They don't have them, and their subwoofers somehow do not have the modified back panel like the McCormick's packages usually have. So right now they're not going to have any subwoofer sound. They're just going to be using the mains, the tops, but that's okay. Once that upgrade comes in, they'll be good to go. And again, same for the other side speaker stack. To give you a tour of the cabling in the actual front ensemble, there's 3 sort of pods of instruments that are grouped together, and we're using 3 separate modular snakes to get all of the microphone signals to the Synth 2 cart in the back. And I've already tested everything. All the mics are coming in properly. All the routing is correct, which is great news. So I'm going to bring a tablet just in case we need to look at something in the mixer. I've got it connected to their Netgear router right now. So I think the best way to do this is to kind of go pod by pod. And so I'm using 3 modular snakes. Red, white, and blue is the color coding. The red snake, or pod number 1, is marimbas 1, 5, 6, and 7. And so you'll see here, I've got the cabling, real standard stuff, coming to the end of the instrument. And then here, let me squeeze through here real quick. Oh. So here I've mounted a clamp where they can coil up the jumper cables here and hang them on the end of the instruments. And so those come along and meet at the high end of marimba 6. And again, same thing with marimba 5 here. The mic cables just come on to the end and they jump over. So there we go. Marimba 6 hosts a bunch of cables. So we got all the cabling from marimbas 1 and 5 coming across. And they had a bunch of really long cables. They didn't have many short cables. So a lot of this is just cable management, making it look good, taking the time to get the coil sizes just right. You know, and that's something that, like, you know, if you just have long cables, you know, you're going to have more work to get them on the instrument, but sometimes that's just how it is. So, you know, it's no big deal. And then down here we have the modular snake breakout cable, and there it is, the red snake. And then I'll point out marimba 7 back here, yellow, double yellow, coming down to the end. Again, cable management here. I did my very best to make this look good, just jumping across there. The high microphone with the single stripe and the low microphone with the double stripe. That is sort of my convention for marimba cabling. So that's pod 1, and the modular snake just follows all the way along. They've got a 50-foot core cable that goes over to the Synth 2 cart. Let's take a look at pod number 2. So this would be the white snake, and this one is attached to a 25-foot core cable. So pod number 2 has marimbas 2, 3, and 4, and vibraphone 1. And I'll explain why I included Vibe 1 in this pod in a moment. But let's take a look at what we have. So again, this marimba also uses red. I've got 2 reds next to one another. Why is this so? Because they're on 2 different snakes. This red goes to the back and meets over there. It's got the jumper cables, right? It's got those cables going across. Marimba 2 here is also red, but it's going over this way. It meets with marimba 3. So there's no confusion. And even if they wanted to move this marimba in, like if this kid is sick, it'll still work, right? So marimba 2 meets with marimba 3. And this is the marimba that hosts the modular snake for pod number 2. Again, you'll see just all the cabling. It's all going this way. There we go, get a good look at that. Y'all know how I like to keep it clean. Nice parallel lanes there as best I can. And then there we go, there's the mod snake is on the other side. And then we'll look at that in a second. Vibe 1 here, the yellow, comes across this way, meets with marimba 4 right there, single yellow. And it all just comes in. Real straightforward, real easy, took a lot of time. But again, we're simply sticking to the basics here. And so there you'll see single blue, double blue, which is marimba 4 high and low, and then the single yellow, which is Vibe 1. Let's snake around to the back again. All right, let's grab the tablet. All right, and here is the white modular snake. So I've put it here facing the player side because I want all of the core cables going through that are going through to Synth 2. I want them like in this lane here between the front and the back row so that there's a lesser chance of them getting stepped on. So there we go there. Let's have a close look here. Yeah, so we have an open channel here, but that's okay. We don't need it. We're not using it. So there you have it. That's what that looks like. And now let's finally take a look at pod number 3, which is vibraphones 2 through 7. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And so we'll start with the front row and work our way back, just as we sort of have been. So with this one, this vibe is red. And for pod number 3, this is the blue snake. The color code convention is real straightforward. It's my normal 6 colors. I've got red, white, blue, yellow, green, orange. And so the way that I have this is vibe number 3 sort of has the extension cables that go to the back. So vibe 4 over here has the blue, and it just comes over this way. We wrap up a bunch of extra cable so that we have the appropriate amount of slack. It meets with vibe 3 here. Again, these cables are coming this way. And then I've got some cable management going on here, and I'll show you what that is in a second. Let's go around and look at that. So normally I would want to, or opt to basically have a second set of cables to jump from this vibraphone all the way to the back. But we pretty much ran out of cables, and I did have to add a couple of cables from my own inventory that I'll have to add to like the invoice. But I tried to keep that to a minimum. So here we just are using what we have. And the red cable that comes across is kind of zip tied on here like this. And then I basically just made a bundle using cable management to shore up the extra length. And that just comes along to the back and meets on vibraphone number 6 right here. Super easy, super straightforward. Vibe 5 back here. Again, a lot of cable management going on. Sometimes you just have super long cables to work with. That's A-okay. Comes across, meets with Vibe 6. Again, more cable management coming across. There we have it. Here's the mod snake. This Vibe took like 30 minutes, 45 minutes to do. Took a while. Lots of cable management happening. And then Vibe 7 just comes across real simple and straightforward. Let me give you a better look at vibraphone number 6 here. On the back, there are 2 cables. I've got a double red and a double white. These are for 2 sideline microphones. These are the 2 sideline microphones we looked at in the mixer. This is where they're going to connect, again, because those are going to be over on side 2. And then, yeah, just lots of cable management, trying to make this look as good as I can, as clean as I can. That coil kind of got away from me a little bit, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens. And then again, this is the blue snake. And so let's finally follow this over to Synth 2. Here we have it. For the mod snakes, they only fit one way, so I put color only on one side so that the students can instantly tell which way it's supposed to go. So that's a little pro tip there for you. This is another 50-foot core cable just so they have the extra length. So here's Synth 2 hosting a montage, I think 6 or 7, montage 7. This cart is going to be upgraded very soon. I also advised them, hey, we need to upgrade the synth cart to fit all this stuff. They've ordered it, it's on the way. And so a lot of this stuff is gonna be temporary. And so I did my best to keep it temporary. But here's where our snakes meet. You'll see we have red, and I need to add a color code to that one before I leave. White and blue, so I need to make sure I color code these real quick after I'm done filming the video here. Got everything routed into the TO boxes. Everything's working great. You'll see I've got power down there. The montage has balanced outputs. So we just have a pair of balanced TRS to XLR male cables coming down. It just connects straight into the TO box. Right here, you'll see it says balanced. And the goal with the TO boxes is to never have to unplug directly from these on any given day, only if we're changing stuff around. So everything that connects here should always stay connected. I've also got a pair, let me show you the power real quick. So the power situation, again, this is, hang on, let me get the gimbal. Here we go. The power situation and all this is fairly temporary until their new cart comes in, but I still wanted it to like not shuffle around. So like I've got some power cables zip tied to the side of this case. And, you know, I've tried to keep it as clean as I can. Even though it's temporary, it still is going to have to get them through Bandcamp and likely, you know, maybe a first performance or 2. So I wanted to make sure this stuff was nice and clean. And then over here on Synth 1, we've got a Motif XF6. This is going to have standard phono outputs, so these are unbalanced. So we have the DI box over here. So I've got the 2 outputs, a little bit of cable management there coming around, real nice and clean to the DI, and then a couple power cables come over and just connect straight to this power outlet. So these 2 cables here are power for the synth and the monitor speaker. And then back here, we've got the DI box. So this is on here, folks. Like, this DI box is not going anywhere. And so the idea is that these 2 cables are attached to Synth 2, and they just boom, right there. There it is. Real easy. It just passes over and connects to the DI box. Real straightforward. And I do have this everything's working great, coming in the correct channels. And here, we'll even double check. So this should be Synth 2 here. There it is. So both synths are working. So a bit of a longer walkthrough here. This is certainly one of the larger setups that I've ever done. Like in my career doing this stuff, I don't think I've dealt with a front ensemble quite this big, or rather I should say like that has had this many instruments. But it doesn't have to be complicated, right? It's the same principles that we use for even the one marimba, one vibe setup that we did the other day at, where was that? Whitney High School. Same principles, just upscaled to more instruments. So I hope you've enjoyed this walkthrough. Here's a little bit of a look back here. I've got a couple more connectors to swap around because I was listening to music earlier. But yeah, I hope y'all have found this helpful or at least interesting. Again, this is a pretty large ensemble. I'm very, very proud of this particular build. I cannot wait for the students to come in and see all this on Monday morning. It's been, really, this should have been a 2-day job, but because of how crazy my schedule is right now, I had to squeeze it in today. And tomorrow is Sunday. I've just got a lot of sound design to do. Hoping to prioritize some family time as well. Gonna be a little tired, but it's all good. All right, y'all. I am about to finish packing up and head home. Your boy is tired and needs a shower. So please like and subscribe if you enjoy marching audio content. I've got more headed your way, a couple more installations to do this year. And then we'll finally be done with install season and in rehearsal season. Until next time, peace.